Look at them. Well, guys. Hello. In today's vlog, I'm going to be talking about lupus. And not only am I going to be talking about lupus, there are a few of us that are going to be talking about lupus. I'm all ready. Got my makeup done. Got my shirt on. Let's have a little chat, shall we? The month of May is Lupus Awareness Month. But a lot of people are not aware of lupus. A lot of people don't know what lupus is. A lot of people don't know how it affects the people who suffer from this horrible disease. They don't know how it affects their lives. You see people walking down the street with lupus. You can't look at them and say, oh yeah, they got lupus. No. Because people with lupus looks like just like everybody else. Well, most of the time. Lupus is an autoimmune disease. An autoimmune disease is a disease where your immune system attacks your own body in some way, shape, or form. There are lots of different types of autoimmune diseases. Lupus is one of those diseases in that category. Now, for lupus, everybody that has it is not affected the same way, you know. So that's why I want to do this video. I wanted to do this video to let you hear firsthand from some people that suffer from lupus what lupus is for them. What is their lupus?
Hi, my name is Kim Smith. I'm 46 years old, and I have lupus, SLE, as well as lupus nephritis, which is kidney failure due to lupus. Lupus, to me, is a lifestyle. It's how I live. Everything I do, I have to consider my health and how what I'm doing is going to affect my health. Whether it's how I eat, what I eat, my activities, indoor, outdoor, the climate, too hot, too cold, air conditioning, not air conditioning, indoors, outdoors, all those things can be factors in my health. So I have to consider pretty much every aspect of everything I do 24 hours a day to make sure that my environment is not going to trigger a flare or trigger stress to my body that's going to cause me to be sick. When I got diagnosed, I went to the doctor because I was experiencing a lot of tiredness, pain, a lot of pain, pretty much in everything I did, a lot in my knees and my hands and in my feet. I was experiencing hair loss, but I think for me it was the tiredness and the pain that kind of took over because being a healthcare provider, I did a lot of physical work and I worked a lot of long hours. So me being tired and being able to sleep for extended period of time wasn't an option because I worked 16 hours to, 8 hours to 16 hours, it alternates. But I worked a lot of hours, so me being tired was very hard. And then I had 5 kids at home to take care of during the process. So those symptoms, which kind of was abnormal for me, led me to to going to the doctor. I was diagnosed in the year 2000, between 2000 and 2002. I didn't get a direct diagnosis in the very beginning, but I had been sick with various symptoms for probably 2 years before I got a final diagnosis. And physically, it wore my body out because going through the paces of feeling that sick for so long, my body was just kind of worn. I felt like I had aged 10 years within two, because my abilities were limited. Even though I pushed through a lot of it, and I did a lot of things I probably shouldn't have done because I had to, I was hurting my body through the process. But after diagnosis and getting the proper medication, it made my life a whole lot easier, along with the support of my family and my friends who kind of helped me along the way. Physically, I was just a lot weaker and a lot tireder. Um, for a long time, they gave me nothing for pain. So pain, I was just taking the regular over-the-counter leave. And if anybody know anything about serious pain, a leave takes the edge off, but the pain itself never goes away. So I was literally just walking with pain constantly. I was constantly in pain. My body just ached and feverish. I just always felt sick, always. And I never felt like I had enough rest. I never felt like I had energy. I never felt like I had strength. So it was very hard for me to function and do pretty much anything, cook. Um, Bathing was relaxing, but it was tiresome. Once I took a bath, I went straight to sleep. Simple things like that, that your norm, wouldn't take that much out of you. It did. Simple housework, my regular job that I had been doing for years, it just took a lot more out of me to do. Emotionally, it affected me because um, I wasn't old, and I felt like I was old, and I couldn't do the things I wanted to do. I couldn't do the activities with my kids that they wanted me to do. I couldn't get out and run around. Not even, like, my kids were a little bit older, like do things like go to the amusement park or things that they like to do, and going to the park and throwing around a softball, baseball, tennis ball, things like that was stressful because I wanted to do it and I really wasn't physically able to do it. Thank God I had 5 kids. They didn't need me to play with them. They played amongst themselves. But it was kind of heartbreaking that I couldn't be a participant. Um, that's the emotional. The emotional is you kind of feel like you're an outsider looking in. You're present. You're physically present, but you're not able to participate in things. You kind of feel shunned a little bit because after you say no to so many events and things, people stop inviting you. So you kind of feel like you're an outsider amongst your own peers and amongst your own friends, sometimes even family. And it's built my spiritual life so much more because my prayer life has become like what's kept me going all these years. I learned to communicate with God. I've learned to ask God for things, and He's granted me. He granted me 14 years of remission, which allowed me to raise my kids and be present and be active. Um, I couldn't have asked for more at this point. My response when I got diagnosed, I was scared because I knew so little about the disease. I realized after I was diagnosed that I had only known one other person who had passed away from lupus. I didn't know anything about lupus. Like, I was the one that was doing the research and reading and looking up stuff, trying to find out, and asking my family, do we know anybody with lupus? And come to find out, I only knew of, at that point, one person, and she actually had passed away. So I I didn't join a support group, but I did get a lot of support from my family. They also did research and, gave me information. But I learned most of what I know now through living every day, what works and what doesn't work, and what I should do and what I shouldn't do. Those are things I learned just by doing trial and error. Basically, after diagnosis, I went into a different mode of life that I wasn't going to let this control me. I was still, going to live. I was going to live with lupus, but I was going to do everything that I could to live the best life I could. I don't get very many opportunities to talk about my experiences living with lupus because outside of my family, not a whole lot of people know. I mean, a few of my coworkers knew when I was working, but I don't talk about it much because it can be a bit redundant. People are very understanding of why you're so tired and you don't even work, or why you don't do this and why you don't do that. And you kind of get tired of trying to explain that it's it's a physical thing and it's what lupus does to your body. So the one thing I would tell people about lupus or about someone with lupus is to understand that this is not something that can just go away. It's not something that medication fixes 100%. It's not something that natural remedies and vitamins and eating right and getting plenty of rest, those are not 100% fixes. They're necessary to manage, but it doesn't fix the disease. And people with lupus will still feel tired even if they're doing everything right, taking their medicine, going to the doctor. It is what it is. It's lupus, and if you have it, you have to deal with it throughout your day to day. And people who don't have it or don't even deal with any autoimmune would never understand what it feels
Hello,
like.
my name is Erica. I have lupus. Lupus does not have me. I was diagnosed in 2008, and for me, I was not in shock as far as like, OMG, what is that? Because I already knew what lupus was. Because I have a family member that has lupus. It's my niece. She was diagnosed at the age of 12, and she's 26 now. And she is fighting the fight. So when I was diagnosed, I was already aware of what it was. And I was already aware of what it's about because I educated myself already on it due to the fact I had a niece that had it. So with me, I accepted it. I didn't stress about it. And I did very well from the time I was diagnosed. But prior to being diagnosed, I was always like tired, sick, felt like I was a 93-year-old woman in a 30 plus something body. I was just tired, achy, painful joints every day, nonstop, consistent heartburn, consistent headaches. Even if you take a nap, you're still tired. I was just so tired, super tired. I would walk from the car to from the parking lot to the car, and I'm out of breath, just tired, as if I ran a marathon. And I just got like, this is too much going on. I need to go to the doctor. But never thinking, oh, it's lupus, never any of that. And I just spoke with my regular family practitioner, the regular doctor, and explained to her what was going on. She said, it's a lot. So I'm going to send you to a rheumatologist. Okay. Talked to the rheumatologist, explained to everything that was going on, got blood work and the history of what I was telling her and the blood work that was performed. Maybe about 3 or 4 days later in 2008, got the diagnosis. was prescribed Plaquenil and prednisone. Loved it. I had no side effects from it. Only side effect I had from the prednisone, of course, I gained weight. But that was fine with me. So from 2008 until last year, I was taking off the prednisone because you can't be on it for a long time. And then as soon as I was taken off, within days, I started feeling bad again. But I dealt with it. But what hit home for me, my husband had a stroke in October, and the stress from that made me have a flare I never experienced in my life. That has been one of the worst flares I have, and I'm still dealing with to this day, and we in May. I just got back on prednisone 14 days ago, but took my last pill as of Thursday. I was doing great. I'm still doing good. But I deal with it. I was also prescribed methotrexate. And that's something you take once a week. And it seems to work for me. So I take my medications. I do what's expected of me. And I just try to live my life to the fullest. I don't let it get me down. Lupus does not have me. I have lupus. Music is my therapy. My husband and my daughter are the ones who support me 110%. They understand I can have a good day today, and literally an hour from now, after this video, I might be like, oh my God, I need to lay down. Also, studies have shown having a pet helps with chronic illnesses. And I have a Lhasa Apso. I have had him for 4 years. And he's also wonderful. He supports me too. Yes, my little dog. Recently, I was just diagnosed with panic attacks and migraines. And it's all because of the flare from the lupus that I had suffered from October till now. And I still have real bad swollen joints, real bad achy joints, which I have every day. The migraines come and go. The fatigue comes and go. And I want you guys to just educate yourself. Even if it's just an hour, research lupus and you will understand. And for us, lupus, the worst thing you can ever do is say, you don't look sick. Only if I can flip myself inside out and let you see what I go through, then you will say, oh, you're sick. Because that's what lupus is. It affects your inside. It affects your outside too. But for me, I have SLE and it affects my inside. I'm grateful that I have not had any numbers showing that my kidney or my liver, my heart, my lungs or anything has been affected. So far, the medicines that's prescribed for me has been protecting those organs. And I appreciate it. But we do have some lupus out there where those organs are affected, and they take medicine, they on dialysis, they on chemotherapy, and it's very difficult. So I thank God for the fight that I fight, and I can't complain. I can't complain, and I won't complain. And as long as I have breath in my body and I'm able to talk, breathe, I'm going to scream into the mountaintop. We need a cure. We need to help spread the word about lupus. Because I guarantee you can say anything, what goes on in the month of October. Everybody already know. Breast Cancer Awareness Month. May, Lupus Awareness Month. Only us lupus know. And our support system of some of our family members. And there's 1.5 million people who suffer from lupus in America. And we need a cure. We need a cure. And it's very difficult. It's very difficult. It's like night and day. You could be fine 1 minute and the next minute in terrible pain. And that's what's crazy about it. That's the mystery about it. You never know what an hour gonna bring. Forget day to day. It's like hour to hour when you have lupus. And like I said, I have experienced that from October of last year until this current day. I get it. From the time I was diagnosed, I just pushed through it. I was good. But now, the stress, I feel it. And what's so crazy is you have to be prepared for the unexpected with lupus. And once you master that, it's you can do it. And I just want to thank you all, and thank those who do know, and thank those who do support us. And let's spread awareness. Let's get some stuff out there. We need a cure. So this is for us, Lupus. I love you all, and have a good day. Thank you.
I was diagnosed with lupus 14 years ago. It was right after my son turned a year old that I actually went to the doctor to get checked out for the symptoms that I was having. My symptoms were joint pains. I don't mean just like arthritic, achy bones. I mean sharp, stabbing pain that required a lot of energy and a lot of, I don't know, it just took a lot to even do something as simple as moving from this position that I'm in now, sitting, to standing. Literally, my hips, my knees, my elbows, my shoulders, my ankles. I would break into a dripping sweat just from trying to move from a sitting to a standing position. That's how bad the pain was. But that was initially. After that, I started to experience swelling. I didn't experience any swelling before. It was just the pain. And even parts of your body hurt that aren't joints, like long ends, parts of my bones, my neck, my shins, the back of my foot. They just hurt. They ache, they hurt. And if you do anything that causes tension on the joints, well, it's an autoimmune disease. So what's going to happen? My body is going to respond to it as if I've injured myself. So then it's going to attack that portion of my body that I have exerted excessive pressure, excessive tension. I stub my toe. I lift something heavy. I bend down or I'm on my knees for too long. I dance. All those areas, they get attacked. They swell. They hurt. So, there's also another way that I get it is I get like little nodules under my fingers. They feel like calluses, like the calluses that you would get on the palms of your hands, like that, except they're under my fingertips. And in the type of work that I do, that makes my job extremely difficult. If my joints haven't started hurting yet, halfway through the shift, they a lot of times will start hurting. My lips will swell, and I mean ginormous, like 3 times the size that they are now. It would start off as a little lump, and then I can tell, because I can feel the little lump, but within a couple hours it becomes 2 lumps and 1 in the middle here, and they just swell really big. I'm not gonna put pictures of that up here, but just trust me, it's not pretty. That's my lupus. That's lupus for me. You know, I have experienced what they call Raynaud's phenomenon, and that's when in the cold weather you lose circulation, you lose the feeling in your fingers, there's numbness. And for some people that lasts for hours. That lasts for a really long time. Sometimes they have to go to the doctor to get that resolved. I've never had it to the point where I had to go to the doctor to get resolved, but it starts in one finger and it goes to all my fingers and they just turn white and numb. And even it's weird the way it moves. It starts with my thumb, it goes all the way to my pinky, but then it moves into my face, my lips, and it'll move from one half of my mouth to the other half of my mouth. Then usually it's gone after that. I haven't experienced that in maybe a good 3 or 4 years, thank God. But I do have experiences with that. What else is there to lupus for me? I don't have it the way some people have it. You know, some people have it affect their skin. They break out in sores. Some people have a lot of blood clots. That's how it affects them. We're all at risk for blood clots once we have it. So, but some people have to go to the doctor weekly for treatment because they throw blood clots all the time. I am also not one to get the butterfly rash. You know, that's why I believe they made the butterfly the symbol for lupus, is because of this characteristic butterfly rash that covers some people's face. We're not supposed to be in the sun because that is supposed to exacerbate or make your symptoms worse. But I don't get that rash, at least not yet. Or if I'm ever going to get it, I don't know. But I am not one of those people that have experienced the butterfly rash. I am also not one to really get the rashes on my skin, except for when I'm really sick. I remember having a 103.5 degree temperature one day. And when I got to the doctor's office, there was just a red, it wasn't it was like a under my skin rash, but it was all over my whole entire body. And I noticed that whenever I get a high fever, which hasn't happened a whole lot, but whenever I get one, that's characteristic for me to get that rash. To be honest, that rash is there. You already know. I didn't even feel like I had a high fever. I just felt weird. But that rash is all over. And that's how I know for sure that something's going on systemically, because that's my lupus starts responding to it. So anyway, guys, I hope that this has been informative for some people. You can ask questions, put them down below. And if you know somebody who have it, a family member, a friend, the best thing that you can do for them is to support them. You know, a lot of people, they don't have a good support system with it because they don't look like anything is wrong with them most of the time. You know, there are some things that go along with lupus that I didn't even talk about in this disease because I'm just talking about my experience. But there's a lot that goes along with having lupus. So just support those people. And let's speak out about it. Let's make everybody aware, and let's do what we can to support research to find a cure for this. So thank you guys for watching.